That's even worse than what we typically think of in economic terms as a regular monopoly, where you've got maybe one choice for a given good or service, but nobody is twisting your arm to go out and buy it necessarily. Fourth point. NEA and the AFT both, as is common among major unions, have adopted a unified dues structure, meaning educators must join every level of the union, every affiliate entity of the union, or none at all. Many of you probably have decent perspectives or connections with your local association. It's probably the NEA or the AFT or the statewide affiliates that cause you the most personal or ideological or political or religious heartburn. And you would probably, many of you, be more than happy to continue paying dues to only the local union if that were an option to you. But the NEA, the AFT, explicitly in their governing documents make that an impossibility. You have to sign up for everything or nothing. So, just to recap, you're represented by a union that, as we already established, you probably didn't ever have a chance to vote for. You are historically required to pay them dues. You can't go and represent yourself in many cases. This may not be an organization that aligns with your religious or political views. And yet, the union wants to come to you and say, if you don't pay for this all or nothing proposition, sign up for all of our wholesale leftism agenda and get workplace representation or nothing at all, that you're the free rider. You're the one who is breaching ethical and moral obligations. Oh, and we're going to rule out any kind of legal change that would maybe allow us to both go our own separate ways. The only solution that government unions will accept to this problem is a return to the bad old days where literally public employees could be fired for refusing to pay union dues. It's not hyperbole. In Washington State in the early 2000s, when state employees were first unionized, this is exactly what happened. There were a core of people that refused to sign up for union membership, and several of them were terminated. The union's response at the time to those who expressed opposition and didn't like the strong argument, Tim Welch was a spokesman for the state employees union in Washington State, and his response was, let's see, I misplaced it here a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, his quote: "You can choose to be a member of the union. You can choose to pay a fee, but ultimately, if you don't like that, you can choose to be unemployed." That's the union's model that they seek to return to wherever they can. Last point on this that I have to touch on, because I think it's a helpful framework for thinking through unions and these issues. Essentially, unions that have exclusive representation plus mandatory membership, the old pre-Janus way, had a super monopoly on providing workplace representation services. They could compel you to receive their service, and they could compel you to pay for it. That's even worse than what we typically think of in economic terms as a regular monopoly, where you've got maybe one choice for a given good or service, but nobody is twisting your arm to go out and buy it necessarily. Unions even had more than that in the pre-Janus world. What they don't ever want to return to or get to is essentially the status of any normal membership organization, where they have to go out and voluntarily sell their services to people who are voluntarily willing to pay it. And there's plenty of membership organizations out there that are strong and thriving and advocacy organizations that operate from that model. But that's not the playing field that the unions want to engage on. So even today, in the post-Janus world, well, thankfully Mark is still very much with us. In the post-Janus versus AFSCME Supreme Court ruling world, unions still have what you could fairly describe as a normal monopoly, where they're the only game in town when it comes to workplace representation services. You just don't have to pay for it anymore.